Mic is on. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. That's connected. Show me face. Show me face. Let me see face. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. In that case, up goes the link. And on Discord as well. Oh, crap. Chat's in the way. There we go. Discord. Have I been doing it in the regular stream channel? Is that where I normally do it? Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to push this over here. Okay, and that's up. Do I exist? Is anybody here? Or am I just talking to myself here? I'm going to be doing some drawing today, if you can hear me. Just some landscape painting. It's going to be kind of Bob Rossian, but Emily has to clean the fish tank when she gets home, so that'll make some racket. So don't use this for your ASMR if you're watching the VOD. Not recommended. Alright. I don't think I'm missing anything here. Discord notifications up. Patreon notifications up. I think I'm good. I think we're okay. Alright. So that means I can get rid of this. And we're good to go. Oh, I can get rid of this too. Perfect. Okay. So then we can go back to full screen, which is not on. Don't know what this monkey won't do. Okay, what the fuck? Where's the thing? I have way too many different sources in this particular channel. This is not good. Where are we? Ah! There she blows. Display capture. Yay! Infinity tube. Alright, and then Photoshop is over here. And then I still need to do more things, so hold on. I don't think we need layers quite that low. Seems a bit extreme. Let's bring that up here. Why is that? There we go. That was weird. Alright. I don't know what I pressed there. I must have pressed something while I was setting up. I'm sure that was me. I have no idea what it was, though. Okay. So, yeah. Today I am painting some landscape kind of concept art that goes along with all of the stuff I've been doing lately, which is toward that hobby video game design thing that I've been working on called Everbound. Or one day to be called Everbound. It doesn't exist yet, so I don't think it's technically called anything until it exists. Pretty sure that's how that works. I'm gonna put pretzel rocks on. I thought I did that. I knew I was forgetting something. But it's downloaded now, I understand. I see my misdeed. Okay. That should be good. Ish. Good. Good. Ah! There she blows. Okay, YouTube safe, yes. Good, because this is going to be uploaded immediately after. So, okay, yeah, we're good. Oh, you know what? I keep forgetting to reconnect my speaker. Oh, quick detour. Doesn't look like anyone's here yet. If you're in the VOD, you get the soothing sounds of me plugging my speaker in, which I'm sure isn't going to be unpleasant at all. I have the volume knob all the way down, so it should be fine. And I got all the cables fed back, but I just haven't gotten around to plugging it in, because I'm one of those kinds of people that'll do like 99% of a task and then just stop. I don't know why I do it, but there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, There should be one more. Aha! Okay, there's that one. And this one? No? Okay, this is the power cable. This is like kind of arguably the most important one. Hold on. Is anybody here yet? Oh, that's good. That's very good. You might want to just skip ahead a second if you're watching the vlog. Where are we at here? I was so close, and yet so far away. Hold on. Hold on. Shenanigans are happening. What the hell? So it is there. I'm just stupid. That's even worse. That is significantly worse, actually. Okay. Almost done. Almost done. Hoping that did the trick. And also hoping, okay, if I can get back in here, that I can hear the music to make sure it's not Garbo, or at least the least Garbo Pretzel has to offer. There's some pretty good stuff on here, but there's also some pretty not so good stuff on here. So this is certainly not sponsored by Pretzel Rocks. Tolerated, but not supported. Okay, I'm just making sure that I don't need to. All right. Okay, cross your fingers. Maybe I'll be able to actually have some music today. That would be nice. Even if it is Pretzel Rocks. Okay. The headphones still fit. That's a good start. Come on. Okay. I have a pop when I plug it in. That means the power part's working. And so is the music. Nice. I am reading the tunage loud and clear. So the question is, are you? And the answer is undoubtedly yes. And it looks like I'm louder than the music, but maybe a slightly different mix would be better. How's that? Mildly superior. Cap it there. Ooh, that's a lot of hair pullage. It looks like I'm going for the ponytail. Here. Why don't we skip the headband for today? Until somebody asks me. Okay. So let me get back to Photoshop and get myself the rest of the way set up here. I feel like it's always wise if you're the kind of person that wants stuff to get straight to the point. Just skip like the first half hour or so of any of my streams, because I usually just kind of dick around for about 20 to 30 minutes. Uh-oh. Oh, good. Okay. Stylus is important. Do I have the right screen on? I do. That's good news. Alright, now to assemble. The final stage. There we go. There we go. Very soothing, relaxing environment. Okay. I'm really glad that didn't open, but it would have been hilarious if it did. So, I have a few different landscapes that I'm going to be painting today, and I hope this is the right kind of plug. Don't let me down here, champ. That seemed important. Got it. Got it. Everything's fine. Please. See, the problem with this thing is it's not the actual plug. It doesn't have a specific special kind of plug. It's the USB mini or micro. It's the fat version of the little guy. It's a fairly old kind of plug. Yes. But there's too much plastic housing around the plug. That's where the problem lies. Has nothing to do with the actual plug. There's just too much gobbledygook. Alright. Come on. Yeah, that's the sound I like to hear. Come on. Let's go already. Okay, and the final step of this very precise operation. Hold on. I did say precise, right? There we go. That's what I'm talking about. A little bit of recline. There. How's that? Perfect. Perfect. Emphasize the man titties. Ideal. All right. So, the name of the game is Blackjack. The area I'm going to do first is actually going to be... I'm deciding between two. There's the area that fog dragon came from. That's possibly the first thing I'm going to do. Or there's this place called the Acid Flats, which is the home for the third type of dragon I'm going to design. The reason I'm designing these areas is because my plan is to kind of create little dioramas of each area to make sure I'm happy with the general look of it, and then spread that out to the whole map and blend things together, and so I want to take baby steps because I'm teaching myself as I go here. And so I'm starting with 3 areas on the map, and I'm making a type of dragon that is commonly found in each of those areas. So now I need to design the areas. Because I can't put them in a little diorama environment if I don't know what it's going to look like. And I have a rough idea for the fog dragon habitat, the fire dragon habitat, and the acid dragon habitat, but I don't have any like hard details figured out. I don't really know exactly where I want to take it. I should have Discord up just in case. I mean, this is not my usual day, so for all I know, this might not work for any of the patrons. So I might be just talking to myself today. I have no idea. But you guys have the VOD, so I'm going to keep yammering anyway, and then everybody gets to enjoy it. Do sub on Patreon if you want to be here in person. We do one of these every week. It's just like the other stream, but exclusive. So if you're into that, it's much appreciated on the part of the patrons. Means I can keep entertaining you guys with being an all-around goofball and hobby artist. At your service. Okay, I think I'm gonna go for the... since it's being uploaded, I feel like I have to do that. Anyway. I need the... We want to go for the Fog Canyon. I think that's... Well, not Fog Canyon. That's Hollow Knight. It is not like that area at all, actually. It's more swampy. But... I think that's where I'm going to start. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop down a black or a white background. I'm going to drop down a black background. And do a bit of color paletting. Because this is probably going to be a dark... Yeah, it's going to be pretty gloomy in there. I kind of imagine more mist than anything else, but that's kind of the point. For the mist to stand out, you want... I think I'm going to start with a dark background for this one, for that reason. I think it'll help it. Stand out. But I need to pick a misty color, which this seafoam isn't terrible, but it's actually the area we're in is sort of close to kind of the ice biome region, whatever, of the map. It's not in it, it's a neighbor. So I feel like the blue fog might look better. It's also, it's a breeding ground as well for local dragons, which would be of similar color. But the fog itself is coming from those fog dragons. And so that actually... But if the... Actually... Because the fog coming out of them, it does still matter, because the fog coming out of them is going to be probably mostly white, maybe a little bit of a sickly yellow. But then the light around there is going to be blue, so this teal is actually not a bad place to start if we want to make this kind of sickly fog. Oh, are we looking alive here, tablet? It doesn't feel like it. Okay, well, my keyboard didn't fry, but the tablet is not looking alive at all. I had hope. You let me down. Okay. I have a very rapid solution to this. I just need to switch cables. Give me a second. What's that plugged into? Alright. So the mic's gonna come unplugged for a second. They take the same kind of cable, but the mic is friendlier to other cables. This one is particular to its own, which is currently plugged into the mic. So temporarily muting, sorry about that. Okay, that should be better. Tablet lit up just fine. So it looks like this is working now. That's good. Okay, got music back. Alright. So, back to choosing the color palette. So yeah, I kind of am going to go with this sea foamy color. I think for the light of the area, but we're going to play around with it a little bit and see how we feel. I'm going to use something different than this pastel, I think. I feel like using something different. I've been using this a lot lately. I tend to just hang around with the same thing for a while. I know that frustrates some people, but that's just what I like to do. I don't want any of that crap. I want something that looks like wet media, for sure. How about the oil? Or is that, no, that is what I was using. Or is this a different one? No, that's definitely the same thing. I guess that is, I like it so much. I'm not gonna do it. I still want to use something else. Not the color picker. Okay, maybe we'll go for something dry then. Go for pastels. Yeah, that could work. You know what? Yeah, actually, I'm down for this for this purpose. Okay, so we've got that. Kind of just layer in a few of these to see kind of what I like. I'm not sure exactly what I want to go with here, but I'm just going to play around with some colors. I mean, the whole point of this is to design what's likely to be a main area of the game, at least a place with a lot of points of interest. It's kind of hard to define what's a main area of this game. It's very... It might not end up being fun. But that's fine. I mean, the whole thing is kind of an experiment. But it might end up just being horrifically unfocused, you know? Who knows? That might not be fun for anyone. But I'm hoping that people will be interested in the kind of, you know, go wherever you want, do whatever you want style. It's just not going to be very hard to achieve in a way that's, you know, actually satisfying. But since this is a place that I could see people frequenting quite a bit, I do want it to look nice. You know, even though it's going to be ugly there, but pretty ugly. You know, like it's not ugly. Oh, see, this is a little bluer. And I'm kind of okay with that. Like, I do like the way that this lightens up. But this is why we do this. Like, maybe I should try something really dark. Maybe I'll actually, well, not dark rather, but much bluer. Because obviously I'm doing all different. Remember your color theory words, Austin. Values? No, the value is like the chroma. What color it is. Saturation? Shade? Something along those lines is what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna stop looking now. I think... Yeah, I have the distance. I think I'm gonna bring the microphone down closer to me, because this is just kind of chill, and it'll mean I don't have to feel like I have to project as much. And because I have an arm on my microphone now, I can do these kinds of fancy things. Alright, so that might be a touch better. How does that look when I talk now? Yeah, that seems better. I can check and see here. Test. Yeah, that's pretty good. There we go. So now I don't think I'm fighting with the music quite as much. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Alright. I think I pretty much dropped that right back where it was, but that's fine. Back to colors. So, I'm okay with this bluer blue. like I'd rather have something icier, kind of between the two. Like in here. What if I take that down to a deep shade? Okay, that's looking pretty close to the second one I did. It's looking very close, but as the value goes up, no, not the value. As it becomes a brighter color. I'm sorry, I don't know the right words. But as it becomes brighter and brighter, it's definitely more blue. This is pretty close to what I'm looking for. I'm liking that fourth color. Or that fourth little palette splatter there. But all of these colors are nice. Like I can see this being used more for greenery and stuff like that. I think if I have even a little more green, I can have a second round of that. It's even marshier. Kind of like this. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Then, see, because I feel like I'd mostly be using the deep greens from that little color set. You can see I kind of have a habit of getting like, usually between 5 and 6 colors. The first one I did 7. Oh, I just did 7 on that one too, actually. It's interesting how this one looks like it stacks. Like, maybe it's just a trick of my eye, but it almost looks like there's a little bit of shading and depth between the layers there. They look a bit separated to me for some reason. Maybe it's just because of the colors I chose. They stack very nicely like that. Could be. I don't know. Oh, here. I want that. Just a second. I'm looking a little bit out of focus. I know I fidget with my stuff a lot, but it's part of the fun for me. So it needs to go back a little bit. It's always hard for me to remember. Working backwards. Probably somewhere around there. Yeah, not bad. I'll take that. This needs to go back. Okay. So, I also kind of want some, I don't know how much of it I'll use, but I know I'm going to want some, like, sickly yellows. Yeah, I'm a fan of this. It's kind of adds some more muckiness to it. Nice. Very nice. I'm a big fan of this. Cool. What the hell is this music? It's actually pretty chill. I'm alright with it. Don't throw talking at me. I wasn't requesting that. It says no lyrics. I know that's not really lyrics, but it's still kind of lyrics. Okay, I think that's about as far away from blue as I'm willing to get. It's about as far as you can get, but I don't want to get quite as warm as red and orange. I'm going to stay away from that, I think, mostly for this area. Maybe have some like highlight details, some kinds of flowers or something that would stand out, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. Green. Ooh, it's a pretty good green, actually. I'm a fan. I am a fan.
What is this place?
Yeah, so this might be somewhat reminiscent of the Green Path painting, but not really. It's going to be more like, I mean, it's more marshy, more swampy, so.
What is this place?
You know, it just occurred to me, I might have left Scotty's cage open. I'll be right back. Safe for the little bean. Alrighty.
What is this place?
Seems like a pretty good place to start. Palette. I think that's it. Oh, damn. I guess I did that on top of the background layer. Oh well, it's not a big deal. Can always make a new background layer. Really stay at the top so that I can just turn it on whenever I want to see it. Right? And it'll just cover the whole painting so that I can look at the palette. So yeah, I think I'm gonna start from there. And I'm just gonna pick one of the lightest colors here from this, my favorite set of blues that we made. And kind of sketch out a little bit of a rough design. So I'm assuming I can still turn that on and off. Can I grab colors from it even though it's locked? Good, okay. So yeah, back to that lightest blue. And then we're gonna say I know more or less what I'm looking for here. I want us to feel pretty low to the ground, so we're going to do just under midpoint for the horizon. And I'm actually going to pay attention to my perspective and everything in here. No, I'm not. I never do. Why start now? You're not going to be seeing the sky, at least not from within the canopy of this area. It's a very heavily, like a very heavy canopy on the swamp. Not quite like a rainforest because it's not very clean, so that's why swamp. But kind of a cross between the two. It's like a rainforest swamp. I'm sure that's normal in some places, but I don't know things about things, so I think I came up with it. I probably didn't. I'm sure you can relate. I don't know why I scratched that all in. I just kind of wanted some texture to it so that I knew that that was a solid object. That's kind of our tree coverage, and I know I want some vines hanging down. Stuff like that. Just gonna play with things until it starts feeling like we're going somewhere. And I have it on a layer I can always get rid of, so if I'm not happy with my vines or anything, I can just completely erase that section or delete the layer altogether. I've got options, you know? So that's giving me the right vibe, kind of vine cover, you know, but I'm not quite sure. Light source is going to be coming from around here somewhere, so I'll keep that in mind. And then we're going to have... I'm going to need to do some perspective for this to work. So, I mean, I imagine of land, not huge, but just kind of constantly around. That's expanding in the wrong direction. That should be tapering. I want it to be wider out here, and then tapering down like that. That's better. Just something in between here. Okay, and keep doing this off to the side. Let the land just kind of bleed over the edge. It's looking pretty right now, but it's not going to be when I'm through with it. When all is said and done. This is kind of similar. I'm nearly done. I'm gonna finish it up tomorrow. This is reminding me of the ice flows in the painting that I'm doing in my regular Twitch stream, which is the Pokemon Azelf in Crystal Cave from Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I'm sorry, I did not play Mystery Dungeon, and I can't remember the names in things I did play. So, not sure there. Okay, so then we kind of have this constant swampiness. Right? There's water pretty much everywhere, and there's also land pretty much everywhere. It's like kind of 50-50. And the water is like, you know, about that deep. It's pretty shallow here. This is like basically a land bridge between two continents that is filled with this swamp. So we need some trees to be supporting that. I'm just gonna kind of drop some stuff in and see what shapes kind of suit my fancy. I do think I want roots reaching kind of out and down into the water, as well as just rooting in the earth that the tree is sitting on. I'd say pretty much all of these are gonna have a tree on them, except for the little guys like this one. This little bean-shaped one right here. Obviously it doesn't have a tree on it. It might have a little tuft of grass or something. But like I said, this is just kind of a rough design sketch that I can then use to make a sort of diorama in possibly Unity, maybe just in Blender at this point. But either way, the step from there is to then take the assets into Unity and see how it works in an actual game engine. I might switch engines. I haven't locked into anything yet because I haven't done any. But Unity I at least know a little bit about. See, so that one ends up right in front of where the sun is, so we can have a nice effect from that. Put another one right here. And then you can see it just starts to fill in such that you can't really see the background anymore. Like the only place where light's coming through is like here and a little bit shining through. Oh no, that's even a tree. There's a little bit shining through right in here and some there, but you know, I have more land masses in the background, and obviously they're getting smaller now, but so do the trees. And we bring down like a second layer of canopy, just where it's getting deeper into the background, because just like everything is pinching here, everything is, you know, doing the same from the top, right? You have that same thing happening from up top. Which means that after it gets back far enough, you start seeing a new layer of trees. Put it down at that level, and then again down here, and that's what makes it feel like it goes on forever and ever. But I'm not going to take it much farther than that before it just starts fading out into the mist. Because that's really why this place feels like it goes on forever and ever, is it's filled with this looming fog. That you can move through, but it's disorienting. That's the idea anyway. So as I kind of rough in these shapes, like I'm getting less specific as I move further and further into the background, because I don't really need to be as specific. And then when I have a big tree like this one here in the foreground, I can cover up a lot of that non-specific detail. That's a phrase for you that I have sitting in the background there. Those little, like, they basically just look like little teepees. I think that one goes back behind this first clump. This is definitely giving me the right vibe. I'm gonna add another sketch layer. Because I don't want to mess that up. I'm happy with the way it looks, but I would like to kind of play around with the mist a little bit. So we're going to go for that middle blue. And then I'm just going to play around with dropping this in and seeing how it ends up looking. To have bottom, kind of like this. And then, like, it fades out a little bit on the land. It's mostly hanging over the water at ground level. And then the area itself is just also filled with a bit of a haze of that color. But that mostly becomes apparent in the background, because that's how stuff like that works. So as we fade into the background, things start to disappear into the mist. Sort of like that. I mean, again, this is very rough, but that is more or less the vibe I'm looking for. I'm just gonna kind of do some, like, color slapping just to see what it is that what I really want here. So now that we have that palette, we have kind of a sketch to play with here. I'm going to play. Actually, you know what? Why not just get into it? Let's just jump into it. So, I don't know even what my earthy tones are going to be. Probably a little more on the gray side. So now I can scale up my brush a little bit. About here. Oh yeah, that'll work for us. Okay, and then I need the palette. And I'm going to pull up some of these. So that's kind of the closest to an earthy color that I have. Maybe we do need something even further in the oranges. Just maybe right about there. I'll do a palette of these. That's just about black. That's possibly... Oh no, it's underneath the palette. That makes sense. It's like, wow, I don't think I can even see anything there. No, Austin. No, you could not. Well, it's a way to know if things are too dark, you know. I like to do the palette on the black background because you know what is going to be bright enough. It's harder to tell what's too dark. At least for me. Okay, so I'm going to take the deepest earthy color here. And we're going to start trying to work that in. I'm going to put the sketch up top for the time being, but bring the opacity down to about 14%. Seems satisfactory. Okay. We're going to just start laying in some earth wherever we see earth. We are going to more or less follow this sketch. We'll tweak some things as we go, and after a while, I'll probably abandon the sketch altogether. But for now, we're going to follow it pretty closely to get us started with something that's reliable. You know, that's what the sketch is for. Then we can abandon it after it's done its duty. So, just gonna fill in all these patches and see how I feel. And then I'm gonna take an even darker color that I'm just gonna pull to basically be my riverbed. that I'll bring around, maybe even separately underneath as a distinct layer first, and then I'll go ahead and merge them together, because honestly I probably should have done that first. But that's mostly what the black background is doing, so maybe it could just be a trim. That's possible. I mean, that is the whole function of the black background, is to keep things... We're building up from dark rather than trying to darken things down from white. Because if that's where you want to end up, then you're fighting yourself to start from a white background. You can accomplish the same effect much faster if you build up from wherever you want to start, or from something closer to where you want to end, rather. So, you know, same's true if you're drawing like a heavenly scene and you want everything to be flushed with bright light, then yeah, start from a white background. Could even start from a background that's got like a color hue, like a tint to it. I did some of my speed sketches for the YouTube shorts with, actually I think I did them all with some kind of colored background. If I'm not mistaken. Although I may be. It's entirely possible. Carry that even all the way to the very back. Otherwise it doesn't feel like it continues. Feels like a good start. Alright, so I am going to take that even darker color and just kind of create a trim here. So that, actually, I think it's time to start actually using some flow variation so that it's not quite as strong. I like to do that rather than just changing the opacity of the brush, because it ends up looking more like you're working with the media rather than... Because, you know, these effects brushes can be really, really handy to make stuff that has a little more natural life to it. The characters that I've been designing for the game so far have definitely a certain cartooniness about them, which is not an accident. And I suspect the environment, I mean, part of the reason this game is open world is because I was inspired by the way Breath of the Wild managed to make something so massive work on their stunningly underpowered for its generation machine. I was like, okay, so it's definitely plausible for me to make something that's not, you know, a huge game. Although I don't have the resources that Nintendo has to accomplish such a feat. But I've been filled with hubris nonetheless. And so anyway, what I'm thinking is that I do kind of want it to have sort of a painted look about it. But not to the extent that this sketch will. This is just because I'm playing around with the environments and how I think I want things to look. The smallest amount of shape to these islands. Give them some depth, and the ones further in the background I'll make a bit darker. push them away from us, and then you'll have the mist to add to that effect and kind of bring it home. Feeling pretty good with the way these are looking, just trying to not really add too much detail to the back, but just a little bit of variation. Kind of implies detail, even though it's not really there. Let's hide the sketch for a second. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. There are some things I could clean up here that I wasn't seeing because of the sketch, but we'll do that now. A little bit of that going on there. What's happening in the back as well. Maybe just add in some masses that are like that. Just completely dark like that. As though they're even further in the background. To kind of finish this off and fill it in. Find something between the two. We can use. Okay, this is definitely working for me. I am trying to vignette it a little bit, which is why it's almost like a fisheye lens thing happening at the edges there. That's not entirely accidental. I'm not sure if I like the look of it, but it was on purpose nonetheless, so I should own up to my failings. Okay. And then more of this mid color than the dark. And then on these ones that are way in the back, the mid color should completely replace the light all the way in these back islands, and that kind of helps really push them back. And you can see the effect of that happening already, so it's definitely working. Okay, so what I want to do now, hey, is she'll stop eventually. Oh, I want to bring the sketch back up and see what we're gonna do. Or no, not even. Sorry, lost my head. The bird distracted me. So not the sketch, but the palette. And we're gonna add some lighter color here. Emily returns. Hello. Okay, and then we're gonna go back here. Sorry about the bird. I'm just apologizing for Phoebe's freak out, because it's been a pretty chill thing so far, and there are possibly people watching the VOD. There's nobody here right now, but I think that's because I changed my day.
Oh.
So that's on me. How are you? Oh, do you like him? Yay, I'm glad. It is. Hold on, let me come say hi. I'm starting to, I'm playing around with design for the swamp breath.
Ooh, cool. I'm excited.
Me too. It's looking promising so far. Yeah, as more of it becomes real.
Yeah, I keep worrying like, oh god, is it gonna be like overwhelming, and it just feels fun.
It's
so
just
far.
getting more interesting. Check out the sketch here. I'll drop it over the top.
Yeah, I thought it would be getting less interesting, and it's only getting more interesting. Ooh.
Feeling it, right?
I'm feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. So we're just getting started, but it's gonna be good. Well, I'm gonna go say hi. Ah. Have returned. Okay. Oh yeah, for sure. Sorry guys, one more thing. I don't think I need any more of that light color, maybe just a couple touches of it here in the background. And a lot of that's going to get covered by trees and mist and stuff anyway, but if I'm consistent about it, then it should all layer up pretty nicely. Oh, definitely not all the way back there. What am I thinking? Okay. And then something a little more green to actually be grass cover. Not brighter necessarily, but more green. So we'll go. Maybe we will now take this color. And scale this up. Bring the flow down even more, so it's just kind of scraping it on there. Maybe I want that smaller, actually. I think I want this to be the scratchiest one. Which means we need to bring the flow back up to compensate. Okay, there we go. and that adds a little more character and also a little more color. And I'm just going to kind of use these hatches to do this.
USBs are really strong.
Indeed. Yeah, this is working because it only breaks through ever so slightly, so having it kind of everywhere gives the right vibe. Em, can you do me a favor and close that door?
Yes.
She's way too antsy for that to be that loud. Thank you. At least that brings it down a little bit. Okay, and then I know there's going to be a tree here, so I'm not going to push as far back into this. This doesn't get particularly high, which is why it doesn't have that lightest color on it, but it does still need the grass detailing. It does seem to hurt my perspective a little bit. I'm hoping that won't be as evident when I've done it everywhere, but to be safe, I'm going to favor doing blades in the direction of the shading that I've done so far. So a little less random in terms of direction here, and that will make things hopefully keep up to code here. Definitely working for me. When I'm doing effects like this, I have a tendency to get more heavy-handed as I go on, so I'm trying to fight that urge. It will be damaging to the overall look if I have too much of this. Well, I plan on going through with a darker one and a lighter one. But not as densely as I'm doing with this color. This is kind of our main bag here. No stain. Yeah, I was super careful taking it out of there. Yeah, of course. I cleaned it with Windex. It occurred to me that that might not be a good thing, but I did let it air out all the way before I put anything back together. Yeah, I don't really see how that would hurt the paper. Out of context, it may have sounded like I cleaned something paper with Windex. It's behind glass. I'm not that stupid. probably bears clarification. Oh, cool. Very cool. I like that. Ooh, ocean sounds. That's exactly what I need right now. That'll perk me right up. Just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to post that. Whenever I'm off schedule, I always seem to forget things. I went through my checklist, and yes, I have a checklist, and I still forget things. I like the detail this is adding. It's a bit too intense. Well, more than a bit, but we'll be dulling it down. But it's definitely more of the texture I was going for. Just looked too smooth. It looked like kind of piles of mud instead of piles of grass, and we do want it to look muddy, but that's something that I'll add back in around the edges and kind of smear through it after I have this texture on here. So base layer of mud, then grass, then a little bit of detail on the grass, and then a top layer of mud. Even want it on these back islands all the way back here, but at that point it's just kind of like I need to just scribble it in a little bit so that it's technically present. I don't really want too much going on. Might not have been a terrible idea to make this a separate layer that I could then lower the opacity of, so that it's more of a texture overlay, but it's okay. I'm still happy with that. I think that's definitely going the right direction. So then what I want is a darker one that I can put over the top. It's just kind of random scribbles to add detail. Mainly it shows up in the lighter spots. It also serves to kind of cut through what I already have there and make it not quite as prominent. Anywhere it feels like it's a little too strong, I can just kind of scribble on it and dull it out a little bit. And this color is so faint and so similar to everything else that's going on that the whole scribble is kind of lost, even though I'm not really doing anything super specific like I was with the brighter grass blades. Definitely helping to add. I need to be a little more careful in the lightest spots where it really shows up and try and do the same things I was doing with the other grass, because then that makes it pop up. It shows kind of some depth and it just makes it look like there are things at different angles in there, so that not every little blade is, because not every blade is going to be catching the light. Tone down whatever I can here. Doing a pretty decent job of toning down the stuff in the background, so I'm not as worried about that anymore. But what we now want is just less of that bright green in general down around the base, so now I am going to make a new layer and call it mud. Scale my brush up a bit. Go for whatever the brownest thing is that I have, and I want it to be not necessarily as dark as possible, but but yeah, not necessarily as dark as it can possibly be, but kind of as red as it can possibly be. Like, I need it even further from what I already have. I think I should just add it to the palette. Something really earth tone helps a lot. Here. Oh wait, actually, I'll pull the dark one. There we go. Alright, bring the flow way down on this. And just kind of muddy up the edges here. So that that grass at the edges especially is getting lost in the muck. Hopefully pull some of our detail back out of those darker spots. What I should have done is do it the right way and had the grass texturing be a separate layer that I could then change the blending options and the opacity, but this will work well. And this is mostly just a concept piece, so it doesn't need to be flawless. It just needs to mostly evoke the vibe of what I'm going for. We're mostly about vibes today. And it is certainly doing that. Take a darker version of this to mix through and bring down toward the water. So palette back, and we want the dark one. And then we go through again, add that at the bottom. That gives it kind of some smeary detail. Murkier and murkier as we go back. More and more of this dark color. And it starts to really feel like a three-dimensional landscape. I don't know about you, but to me, it's already starting to look like islands floating on black water. At least it's definitely moving that direction. Okay, that feels pretty good. That's definitely what I was shooting for. So, probably time to add in some trees. Maybe I want to do the water. I think I want to do the first layer of water first. It's just whatever will be the baseline. Add a new layer. Call it water for now. I need to get more specific than that. But for now, water is good enough. And I think we're gonna just set the opacity on this to like 72%. So that no matter how dark I make it, it's going to be somewhat translucent. Then I want to take from the bluer blues. We can start filling this in with what will be our water. So you can see some of that detail is really disappearing underneath this. It might require some modification so that it's still visible, but we'll deal with that as it happens. You can also see that because it's somewhat transparent, you can still see that stuff underneath and some of the detail that it offers. But we can make it even better now that we know where the water line is. I think this will add a lot of depth to the image. Honestly, this is making it a bit livelier than I was expecting. But we'll make sure to gray it up and muddy it up and bring it back down into the dirt where we want it. It's actually looking kind of pretty right now. The contrast of that water is honestly making a really big difference. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking right now. Very cool. Totally works. Em, are you in here? What do you think of the water going in? Huh? What? Oh, you're on the phone.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I didn't realize you were doing something.
The internet was just completely not working.
Oh, I see.
It's working now, but I think I'm gonna call and try to get it replaced anyway.
Yeah, I think we probably should. Do you need me to do anything?
I like the water.
You like it?
No.
Okay. Let me know. This water is definitely too bright blue at this point in time, but that's something we can definitely fix. I will want to go through and add some finer detail, just some ripples on the surface of the water. So we'll go through grab a lighter color from that palette, bring the brush down small again, just kind of apply water lines around these individual little islands. Just bring some of the pieces of it together. And as I say, I personally have a tendency to let gentle effects like this get the better of me, and as I go on, I end up adding too much of it. So we're gonna try not to do. Be very, very careful. Just only add a little bit of it at a time. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Welcome, welcome, Chompinator. I don't know what any of those words mean, by the way. What are you up to today, man? Just hanging out? Right on. Right on, right on. Well, I'm working on some region design, like some terrain design for still for that game concept. So this is the area, well, it's the beginnings of the area that the fog dragon lives in. Is what I'm working on right now. And there's a bit of a sketch that I'm building off of, so it's gonna be kind of a grove swamp. Missed the bus, so you can't play Minecraft because you're grounded. Oh, dude, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. That's a huge bummer. You gotta tell that bus driver that he needs to slow down for you. If he doesn't, this random streamer you watch is gonna come and like break his kneecaps. Not me, but somebody, you know. How'd that go? Is there gonna be a wire? Your sister could have told her to wait because you and your brother were right behind, but she didn't. Nice. Very nice. That's a super chill move. Sorry, man, that blows. Do you need some help? Oh, she got it. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man. That's definitely a pain. Okay. Oh, so she spins stories, huh? She likes to make stuff up. It's not a good habit. That's not good, man. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds like she needs some better role models. Okay. So now I'm gonna add some trees in here. Which is going to be the color brown I'm gonna go with here. I think I want to go with this, which is barely even brown. It's kind of it's more of a beigey yellow color. too much detail, but hold on just a second. But I don't want to. I don't want it to just look like green blobs either. So kind of gotta strike a balance here. And I think I can cover them up with some vines and stuff like that. To help muddy it up. Alright, so need to drop in more of these here. I'm going to avoid any specific detail, like I said, at least for now. Just kind of block out where these trees land. Okay. I know we have another one right here. Down, and I can't see it in the sketch, but I had a knot coming off of this one. Right where the silhouette is. getting the feeling I was going for. Of it looks weird, but I guess I can fix that. I don't know what I was doing there, but more of these go in, I can get a better idea of where I really need them. Because when I was doing this sketch, you know, everything kind of starts blending together. You can only sketch like that for so long before things start to just become soup. Like, I don't know where this tree is supposed to be attached. It doesn't make sense. If there's a tree anywhere here, it's coming off of this ground, but in the sketch, if I bring the opacity up, you can see it's like it's right here, which doesn't really make any sense. Although I guess there is a route here where I ended up painting, it's just not very easy to see. Yeah, I know it's not. It's fine. Not bad. And more of them in the background. You need a smaller brush for this. Because the ones coming off those little islands obviously need to be foreshortened in order to make sense. That means at this level of detail they're kind of just becoming blobs. I'm tempted to just make them a darker color, but I think I'm actually okay with them being blobs because they are going to end up looking like blobs since they'll be disappearing into the mist back there. So I'm not entirely opposed to blobs. I can live with blobs. It's all feeling pretty well filled in. And then everything else is going to be layers of brush, and that'll fill it in. And then there'll just be a little bit of light peeking out at the horizon. But that'll be mostly absorbed by the mist. Get this done for sure, which will be cool because then that means I can go and kind of try and model this up a little bit. I told you my plan, right? That I'm going to have 3 different areas with a species of dragon for each, and I'm going to basically make little dioramas detail to the trees. So that means I need my palette back to pull the darkest color from that group. We can hide the sketch. Make this a bit smaller and go through and start trying to like add some actual shape in here. More or less this is supposed to be. I probably don't have specific enough of an image in mind, honestly. Should probably have a better idea. But that's okay. We'll find it along the way. It does already make it immediately easier to distinguish between the trees. Okay. Just keep plugging along here, and I think we will be in really good shape. Doesn't look like much yet, but it's definitely starting to take shape. I can see it for sure. There's also a very characteristic thing that will need to be in here. Because the dragon that I designed for this space disguises itself as a very particular kind of fruit. So I will need to include that somehow. Not quite sure on how exactly I'm going to swing that one. I mean, it's going to be, it hangs from these trees, for sure. But I don't know exactly what I want it to look like, which is problematic at the very least. as more and more of this gets fleshed out, it's still feeling just too vibrant to me. And I'm hoping that the mood, like the shapes are right, the layout's right. I'm hoping that that mood will come through when I add the mist and kind of do a lighting pass on everything and all that stuff. Confidence is the wrong word. Hopeful, cautiously optimistic, maybe. But really, anything could happen. Could look like absolute horse garbage. Horse garbage? I was gonna say horse crap, and then I decided on garbage in the middle. You know what? I'm sticking with horse garbage. Seems like something you don't want your artwork to look like. I don't know what would be in a horse's garbage. Okay, these I'm mostly just coloring in. I'm leaving some of the light color, but I'm mostly filling these in. They're all but blended completely into the background. Mostly just blobs to imply that were you to move further in that direction, here there be trees. Your brain does the rest. Shading these is challenging because there's kind of just an ambient light here. There isn't really a lighting direction. It's just kind of glowy here. So that means that the shading is mostly determined by like places where there are creases and depth in the trees. That's kind of what I'm trying to focus on. Just kind of trying to pull the shape out of nothing a little bit, which might be a bad strategy, but I feel like it's working so far. As I've said, I'm totally okay with a lot of this just being kind of, implied. That's the beauty of concept art. So I don't have any particular responsibility to make it look perfect, because it's not a finished piece. It's just a piece that's gotta feel like a finished piece. Nice touch. It's a weird tree. I don't like that tree.
branch. It's challenging, but as long as I just stay focused, like I have to picture the 3D shape in my head and then like try to paint out onto it to apply the detail that I know should be there. And that is just, I mean, that's kind of the core of painting, but it's also one of the hardest things for me. It's really hard to keep that 3D shape. And as soon as I get distracted, I start just, like, it stops being follow the natural lines of the object and starts being, ooh, splash colors wherever not color. And then it just becomes a mess. And again, it becomes soup. Of this highlight, but it does. You seem to always need at least 3 colors to really, well, 3 shades to really trick the eye. It is required. After you get those 3 shades in there, then the rest, all the blending and stuff, is just gravy. More colors. You know, can always make it better. I'm feeling it. Definitely feeling it. And I want to go back to that middle color. I want to say it was like here. And we can extend these out a little bit. Oh, nope, that's definitely too bright. There we go. Bring some roots out and maybe down into the water and stuff like that. And then we add ripples to the water to help that. I only need to worry about, obviously, on the ones that are very close to the screen. It's the only place that really matters. vines are blending into the grass kind of a lot. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not great. I would be happier if that weren't happening. Felt like I'd have more control over that process, but that's okay. We're doing just fine. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, the trees are very green, but I'm kind of digging it. And I think with the mist, it's gonna work out. But what I am going to do, I think they're still gonna need a little bit of brown. So we're going to bring that in. Not too much, just add some more muddiness and earthiness to it, especially here in and around the bottom. Just dinge it up a little bit. Because they do look like they're green trees, but they should look like green trees that aren't, you know, clean. They're looking a bit too clean. Fix that too. Just add a bit of dinge. Again, especially around the very, very bottom. I think something a shade darker will be better there, so I'm not going to overdo that. Just want to kind of spread it around. Smear the tree a little bit. Keep following the direction of the shape that I established. Do that, it really looks like the tree's getting covered in dirt. And like I said, it just makes them look not as green. You know, because, well, this is not Earth. It's not canonically our universe. There are still some cues from the real world that you want to follow just kind of as a mental shortcut for people. And something that's barked is not going to be that bright green. It's not where that energy goes generally in a plant. The green comes from the chlorophyll. I guess there are some trees that are pretty green, especially when young trees can be really green, or if you, well, I guess if you shave the bark off of them, maybe these trees are all naked. That could be. If all the trees make you nervous, just picture them naked. But at any rate, these are our trees, so they can be green if we want them to be. I just don't want them to look like they're made of plastic. That's really what I'm kind of trying to avoid. I want them to look fake. I was kind of getting that vibe a little bit, and I think adding some of this muddy brown is definitely helping. And it's a color that will, you know, go along with any of the lighting and shading that we'll be doing. So I think it'll only improve as we bring in the fog and the light and all that stuff. But before we do that, we still need to do the canopy, drop down some vines, you know, add some rocks and stuff to the mud. So there's still a little bit left to do here yet, but we're getting there for sure. That's enough of that color, so I'm going to open up the palette again, get the darker version, and really just add this in places that I want to, mostly where I'd like to emphasize shading, so like places where it meets the ground and really deep creases are the only places that I really want to see much of this. And then I might just kind of lightly pepper it around after I'm done with that. Use it to really kind of define where parts of the tree meet the earth and how heavily they're laying there. Big shadow means it's like sitting there nice and plump. Although this is more of a concavity, but same difference. Different reasons. You still want the deeper shadow there. Either way, if it's bulging out, you want the deeper shadow, but you want it like right down at the very edge. If it's caving in, you can kind of have it fade up as a sort of gradient. But in the back, we can actually scribble it on the trees to really push them into the background. Said, put a little bit of it on these trees front here, and then it just, you know, it just looks more like it's a tree that's got like interestingly green bark rather than just being like a bright green plastic tree. I think that looks much better now. Just a little bit more of that, and then call it good. Alright, nice. Definitely digging that. So what I need from there is the canopy, I think is what I do next. That's the plan. So for the canopy, I'm gonna change up and use the
leafing technique that I used in the Hollow Knight painting, because that works very well. So that's going to be in the special effects brushes. Oh no, I made this. That's right. I made this out of the pastel. So I keep the brush that I'm using, but then I need to go through into the advanced brush settings, and there we go. Tweak it. So we want to space it out big time, first of all. Then we want to squish it into more of an oval shape, so that it looks more like a leaf. We want to scale it up like that. And we'll increase the flow. So I can also change the rotation like that, and then we'll add some scattering. Which you don't want it to be too extreme. There we go. Count jitter. So the count is how many we have each time we press the stylus down. The jitter is how much that number varies. So we'll put it around 5. Okay. Angle jitter we are going to increase quite a lot, actually. Roundness jitter, I don't really want any. Well, maybe a touch. And that. Okay. Yeah, I don't want that controlled by how much I'm pushing the pen down. I want that controlled by. I want that just random. Okay, this is going to do pretty well for me, I think. And I can bring the spacing in. No, I think that's pretty good the way we have it, something like that. Alright. So then we want to bring the flow up way high just to see if it's working, which it is. Okay, and then the canopy needs to be done in multiple layers. So we're going to have several colors. The first of which actually is going to be this brown color. Alright, so I need to start making some groups. We're going to group these into ground. We're going to group these into trees, and then this is going to be canopy. Okay, and we're gonna have 4 color levels, I think, so we'll start at 1 being the darkest, and darkest layer of leaves, like the deepest, so it's almost black. And I'm using the mud color for this because it's part of our palette, and it'll be a very deep earthy brown that'll blend in behind all of the other leaves. So we're good with that. That's perfectly fine, but I'm not
not just doing it there, we've got a few layers of that canopy. So I've got to do it here as well, where it's cutting in front of these two trees. Right in there. Back behind over here. And I will go through and clean up places where it's poking. And then again up front. Try that again because it was actually a little bit too big with the brush. So let's go for that again. And you can see how that kind of already starts to imply the canopy. Just from those 3 layers, which is kind of cool. We are not, I gotta say it, we're not out of the woods yet. Sorry, it popped into my head. I didn't have a choice anymore. The decision was beyond me. Alright. So then I want to go for something a little greener. Actually, we're going to go for that darkest green first. And use that to detail this first canopy layer a little bit. And make it so that it's not quite so brown. That way even that layer isn't devoid of green. For the same reason we added a little bit of brown to the trunks, I'm adding a little bit of green to these brown leaves, just so that they, even in their darkest place, have a hint of a more natural color, so that your eye will just buy right on into that. It's very foolable. Like that. Those are now kind of earthy, brownish, greenish leaves rather than just brown leaves. Then we can add, let's say, canopy 2. Bring the brush size down. Something brighter in that green category that we're in. So maybe like here. That's a bit too bright, actually. Let's do that. And I think I want it to be a little less saturated, no matter what I do. It's kind of a sketchier version of the leafing, because I didn't take all the time to set up the brush. That wasn't really on purpose, but I'm kind of okay with the way it's looking for the purposes of this, which again is just a concept sketch. Probably about the 11th hour of time. But you can never be too careful. Information's out there. Can't have my authenticity questioned. I am nothing if not authentic. Except for when I'm not. It's a bit bright. So I think it will desaturate a bit here. But I think I'm just gonna do that on this layer. Maybe not even desaturate. Yeah, that is probably what I want. A little darker, a little less saturated. Just gonna go over the top of that and blend between the two. That feels better. Area between the layers as well. This color can just kind of serve to transition us from layer to layer. I think with these two combined, just like the brown and the green on the bottom, I think that really works. Yeah, I think that's pretty much selling what I was going for. What I am going to do is, once again, well, first of all, I'm going to add this color in here. So that I have it. But then I'm going to grab this darkest green and add it on here for texture. And just do that everywhere. And I think that gets it there. Now it really feels like it blends down.
That's kind of crap. I want to do that again.
That's it. That brings it together. I'm pretty sure that does the job for me. So cool. Again, it's not perfect. Perspective isn't like, certainly not flawless, but it's giving me the right feel. And I'm forcing myself to not ask for more than that. Alright, now I want some vines. Let's try that again. It's working for me, but the vines need to get thicker as they get out to the front. Okay, so we have vines. Then we have vines 2. And scale up a little bit. And some of those vines that are technically like in the background, they do go in front of near trees, but that's alright because they could just be skinny vines in the foreground, so I don't really care that much about that. And again, concept sketch, so who cares? Vines 3. And I scaled up the vines even more. So we can have a few of them right up front for us. Wow, that amazingly added a surprising amount of depth. Okay. So that means I should go down the line then, and on each of these vine layers, I need to add a highlight. This is the first part of adding the vines was a fun little random exercise. This is not as simple, but will be very worth it. I could make it easier on myself by turning off the other layers and just looking at the one that I'm adding this shading to, but honestly that's not going to look as good in the video. And I'm also planning on time-lapsing this and just kind of uploading it as a little short or something. So, and then we go to vines 2, bring your scale down by 2. Oh, maybe only down by 1. Yeah, that's better. Cool. These are pretty much exactly the same vines that I made in the Hollow Knight painting. I'm borrowing a lot from that, but that's okay. I don't really mind that. Cool. Very cool. That works quite nicely. Okay. So we'll group these to canopy. And we'll group these to vines.
Now it's really starting to thicken up and look like a grove, I guess, not so much a forest. But it's definitely looking like something. Okay. So now it's time for mist. And the first layer of that mist. Yeah, because I don't think I need to really add any more detail. I'm happy with this for what it is. So now I want to kind of add the colors that I'm looking for that are expected to come out of the mist. Which I do think is going to end up being this bluer color so that it looks greener by comparison. Okay, and then we're going to make our brush really, really big. And we're going to change it to soft round. Bring the flow down pretty low and add this kind of layer of surface mist that remains dense even all the way up here. And because I have this low flow, it looks stronger, like heavier in some places and lighter in others, which gives it a very ethereal quality. Like it just kind of looks royally, like it's moving and floating and having all of that lifelike fog motion that we've come to know and love. It wherever I'm overlapping with those vines. Actually, I think I can just do that, and that solves that problem. So the vines are over the mist, or at least they're over this layer of mist. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that like I was originally about to say, which is by masking it, or, well, not really. Lazy man's mask. I'm going to go through and just erase stuff. And then I can, make sure that it blends into the background the way it's supposed to. Through. And erase stuff where it's causing problems.
This is working, but I'm gonna be a little more careful than I'm being. Just go through and wherever a line of that thickness touches the fog, I remove the fog. And then I'll go down a size and move down the line. That's cleaning that up pretty nicely. And that's mostly important with the ones that are right up here in the front. The rest of them I think I can kind of get away with letting them disappear into the mist. This one is going to be the darker color, I think, is the way that I want to do this. So, something like that, but maybe a touch grayer. No, actually, we're going to stick with the color I have here. Start just by filling in these spots that are currently just completely black. Be kind of the places that it's shining through from. Even up top, is bring it around. I do want to include this. Anywhere where the black is shining through. Oh, I did my thing where I got way too heavy-handed with it. I didn't even notice I was doing it. It just surprises me. But no, I need to use that black that shows. It's still useful if we want it. Makes that stand out, and then we can still use this color in from here. And I think I have to do the subsequent layers of mist. After, or underneath rather, in order for this to look right. I think that's what. Be very gentle with it, otherwise round brushes can look really fake. Hey, Yakov, how you doing? You're catching me right at the very end here, unfortunately. What are you up to? Almost done here. I'm just adding some mist and then I'm shutting down. Actually going to bring the opacity of that down just a bit. Had to take a nap and then show Rose a couple videos about circuit board manufacturing. How's that been going? Okay. One more layer. Otherwise, work was alright. Tomorrow's your last day working from home. Monday, back to the old grind in the office. Hooray! Yeah. It's weird, right? Like, the whole thing's ending, and all of a sudden it's like... Just a couple videos of start to finish board making and how a CPU is made. Oh, very cool. You should post those. I want to see. Send them to me. Okay. I don't know if darker is exactly the way I want to go here. I think I want it to be the brightest white for this. So I'm actually going to do one more layer of the dark stuff before I do that. Been working from home for 8 weeks. So you were really still at work for a lot of the time. I heard the Badoop. Thank you. Now I think if I take the brightest white, oops, brightest white from this group, oh, that's right. That started when Rose's mom got exposed. I had forgotten about that. I'm glad you guys are more on the other side of that now. How is everybody feeling, just kind of overall? Then you had it about 2 weeks later, then 2 weeks after that you got really sick, and now 4 weeks after that you feel better. Well, I'm glad you feel better. Rose seems like she's doing a bit better. How's her mom doing? Rose is still not doing too great? Oh dear. I thought she was doing better. I had seen that she was going back to streaming. I don't. It's hard for me to follow all the Discords. I don't pay enough attention. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going on. Oh, Jesus. That's a pretty rough 1-2 punch. I'm really sorry to hear that. Wow. Well, that's pretty rough. Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing better. I'm very sorry to hear about that. Okay, I'm pretty pleased with that. Well, you can tell her I can relate to that. I told my boss when I was when this whole thing first started, that was what happened. I told my boss that I couldn't, you know, go and work in the office with a lung disease pandemic starting because I have asthma, and they just fired me pretty much a day later. So it like didn't even give it a day to see how things were gonna pan out. So tell her I can relate to that. That's some bullshit. I'm sorry to hear that. Her boss kept trying to get her back in the office even after her mom tested positive. Wow, that's incredibly responsible. Jeez. Okay, I think we go for Bob Ross Red for the signature since this thing's all blues and greens. I don't know why I'm signing it. It's a concept art sketch, but... They wanted her back in the office a week after she tested positive? God, that's really, really irresponsible. That'll work, and then I just want to go. Actually, I want that to be a little bit of a darker red. Fatter than that, and darker than that. My own signature. You're glad that her doctor put her out of work, but she's having trouble breathing still and fatigue is still bothering you. That's not good. Well, I hope she's getting all the rest she can and getting all the medical help she can. That's some scary shit. I'm sorry, guys.
Well, unfortunately, on that note, I have to go. I wish you guys all the best. I'll see you guys on Saturday, so, you know, feel free to swing by and say hey. But, that's gonna be it for me for today, because I do have to go. But, good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. I hope you're looking forward to getting back to regular work and at least some part of regular life. I will, see you guys next time. Thank you for hanging out, and I guess I don't know. I was gonna say what I'm gonna do on Saturday. I'm not really sure, so I guess we'll see. But well, I'm glad I got to say hey, and I'll see you on Saturday. Sorry, my head's in another place at the same time because I also have an appointment I'm getting to. So, you want to keep working from home? You love your 7-step commute. Well, maybe more of that is coming for all of us, but not in that way. I mean, like, the world will be more open to it. All right. On that note, I shall evaporate. Thank you for hanging out. Oh God, yeah. Let's finish with that. That's horrifying. See you later. Thanks for hanging. I am going to vanish in 3, 2, 1.